Hey people, what's going on? It is the 23rd now, Friday. Yeah, it is cold. It's cold here in Nebraska. It is 6 below right now. And hey, Stephanie, I just talked to both my sisters. They called because it is so cold that they're concerned. Yes, my water pipes are frozen in the kitchen. I do have water in the bathroom. My water heater is acting weird. So I have to get a service person out. I couldn't get any hot water at all yesterday. I just got a little spit of some warm water this morning, so I hope I don't have to replace the water heater. If I do, that's the way it goes. Unfortunately, hope you all are doing okay. This is no weather to be messing around with. Please be safe. I really do intend to stay in the house, for the time being. It's very, very cold. Very cold. Now, being from Nebraska, I've been through winters like this before. But just the way that it's got damn near the whole country in ice is like, I noticed that. Happy holidays, everyone. Whatever it is that you're celebrating. Hanukkah, Yule, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever else there is to be. Merry merriment to you, and happiness and love to you, if at all possible, in these days, the strange days that we live in. So I do want to pay tribute to another musical giant who just passed away. This time it's a producer-songwriter who, again, a lot of people, we have grown up, especially if you come from my era or older. You've grown up with this man's music. He's one of the people who's been the soundtrack to our lives. And that's the producer-songwriter from Philadelphia, Tom Bell. He produced and wrote scores of hits, from the Delphonics to Jerry Butler to the OJs to Elton John to you name it. I looked up his credits and it's in the thousands. The one album that I don't have Delphonics anymore. I want that, and the damn copy that I thought I kept was damaged, so I got rid of it. Delphonics are superlative. But I do have an album here that Tom Bell is all over. And when I looked, it said, well, it makes sense that my favorite song on the album was written and arranged by Tom Bell. It's this album. I've mentioned it before, Jerry Butler, Ice on Ice. He had a big hit with the album Iceman Cometh. And he had a big hit with the song on here, Moody Woman. But that's not the song that hooks me. I like that song, and that's a Tom Bell, Gamble, Huff and Bell, those guys from Philadelphia, giants of music and production and writing. But Tom Bell wrote, looks like, about a third of the songs on here. And my favorite on this album, which is one of my favorite songs, period, when I was a kid, when I got this record, it would be the one that I would put on repeat and sit there all kind of gloomy, feeling my feelings like we do when we're kids. Walking Around on Teardrops. I'm going to endeavor to play the beginning of the track here to demonstrate. I just love this. His production. The things that he would do are definitive, like the use of the electric sitar. You took me on a wonderful high. Hold on. My stereo gets funky. You took me on a wonderful high. And it was beautiful, babe. Okay, see, I can't even play it, but it's like, it just goes on from there. And it's moody. Then the electric sitar comes in. And it's just fantastic. So, cheers to the career of Tom Bell, and respect to him and his passing. Cheers. And rest in peace. You know, I'll speak directly to you, Stephanie. I'm glad that we're in such close contact these days over the miles. I thought it was really sweet that I also got a call from Adrian spontaneously. It means a lot to me. And on top of that, my extended family, the young people who I helped to raise, they're not my kids, but they're my kids. Their mom got a hold of me after she saw my post on Facebook about my pipes. I appreciate the love, people. You get what you give. I'm surrounded by love. You know, there's a new, I don't know if it's a new channel, but it's a channel that I noticed and watched a few interviews because I was surprised to see this person talking to other more obscure artists that I find of interest. Carlos Bustamente is the man's name. Let me try to find here it is. Fairfax City Music and Mellotron Web. This is interesting because he's talking to people kind of like along the same lines as me. His latest interviews are with Daniel Fischelser from Popol Vuh, Armando Gallo, the photographer journalist who was with Genesis Forever, Peter Ulrich, who from the original Dead Can Dance. These are interesting people. And he got a hold of me last night asking me, you know, how to boost his... Oh, I know. Thanks. Here, of course, you get everybody with all their advice on the frozen pipes. I already know. Keep your cabinet doors open. I know. But he was asking me, how do I boost? Let me look at the, because it's right here. How is the best way to grow a channel? I have done great interviews, but folks do not join the channel that much. Well, I don't know. I told him what my experience is that it appears to me that folks join me or watch me because they pick up on my vibration. They pick up on my enthusiasm and my passion for what I'm talking about. That's the main feedback that I get from folks about why they subscribe and why they watch and why they keep watching. Because I don't ask you to subscribe, but my subscription rate continues to climb every day. I never ask you to subscribe. You subscribe because you want to. You're here because you want to be here, which has everything to do with the last video's Christmas message. If you missed it, watch it. And if you need a review, watch it. You know, okay? So I watched a couple of the guy's videos. It's great that he's talking to these interesting people. You know, if you see this, Mr. Bustamente, I would work on your delivery and, you know, try to liven it up a little bit. But be yourself more than anything else I say. Be yourself. A couple records sitting out. It's cold, people, and so just really be careful. You know, seriously, it's seriously cold. Yesterday was really cold and icy, so I didn't go anywhere. But it's just like human nature that because it's hard to get around and get out, people have to test it. So my friend Blake, I love Blake, I really do. I find myself feeling even more like family, kind of like a surrogate dad with Blake. He's only 29. And he could barely get up the street. It's ice. And then when he tried to get in my driveway, because it's too cold. I'm not out there shoveling. And then the weather was weird, so we got a sheet of ice before the snow. He could have barely get up to my driveway. But anyway, we hung out yesterday, and pulled some records because he wanted to hear. Let me see, please. Let me find it. Okay. So we listened to Blake is a fine trumpet player. He is, and I'm really encouraging him to break out and find his own voice and create his own thing, because he's plays with a lot of people. He's busy all the time, and he's quite good, you know. And he's in the mold of Randy Brecker. He can really play, and he loves Randy Brecker. But he had never heard Dreams. This is where I first heard the Brecker brothers, and so I turned him on to this yesterday, and it really blew his mind. You know, he was the one that said, well, these guys were kicking Chicago's ass. Of course, I told him, you know, just so you know, at the same time that this was happening, the first Chicago albums were top rate, top notch. They're all players in the same field. This music is a little more free and wild and jazzy than Chicago. And so it's very cool. Well, the thing that we both noted is how much within the structure of these songs there's all this blowing going on by the horns. They're just going off, and not too much. It's almost like it's just fantastic. They're just blowing on the music, and it just elevates it. So that was really fun to share that with Blake yesterday. So I asked him, because I said, you know, I like it when people do requests here at the house when we're hanging out. That's fun. Doing requests online is not fun. So I told him, just pull something or look up in the shelves and see if something interests you. And he was drawn to this, of all things, Music for Films by Brian Eno. He had never heard it. He kind of knew who Brian Eno was, but actually it turned out he didn't. He was getting Eno mixed up with Daniel Lanois. So this was really, I hadn't listened to this for years. So it was cool to listen to it with him. And my takeaway was interesting how several of these themes get somber and dour. There are pieces that are more light in their melodic flow, but there's several things here where it's like, well, he sounds like he's sad. He sounds like he's sad. So this was cool, because I don't know that the next time I would listen to it. Ryuichi Sakamoto is on my mind a lot. I know that we're all going to die, but he, you know, seemingly is on his last days, and it's just very touching and heartbreaking because he's such a beautiful musician, probably a beautiful person too. So, you know, he just did that playing the piano concert where he had to record each piece one at a time because of his strength. He has none. Anyway, I pulled and played this. The last time I played it, it was hard to listen to. This time, I got through it. I love it, but you can hear his mind on several of these pieces. I know I'm dying. You hear the feeling on some of these pieces. Like, it's almost hard to take. Async, however you say this, okay? And then there's other parts here where he just is making sound. And no explanation, no trajectory. He's just making that sound till he's done making the sound. It's profound to me, you know, understanding, you know, the context of everything. This is an amazing album. Ryuichi Sakamoto, Async. Yeah, I played the whole thing. And it was tough. There was moments where I wanted to take it off. And I stuck through it because I said to myself, imagine how Sakamoto feels now with the cancer. Okay, I'll just keep going. Squack It. I forget who gave this to me. I think a fellow who lives in Hong Kong, Gerald, sent this to me. Signed by Steve Hackett. Squack It, the collaboration that he did with Chris Squire, A Life Within a Day. This is very, very good. For the longest time, I didn't know until I saw that said online. That is not a Chinese character. That is the word Squackett. That symbol, if you look at the SQU and then the A over over the E and the two T's. This is very good. I love the song Aliens. Only aliens are only us visiting from the future. I like that idea. Barbara and Ernie. Don't know much about this album. It came out in 71. Prelude to. Man, we could have. I think that the world could have used a whole lot more like this. This is psychedelic soul, and it's also has that. It still has that sense of optimism that we're going to make things better. And I love Barbara's voice, where you hear all the blackness and she's taking it to a different place. And this is what I'm always looking for, is that uniqueness and not the same old thing. I don't want to hear the blues. I don't have the blues. I recognize the blues, but I'm mad about the blues, okay? I'm mad that we have to have the blues. It's, you know, it's wrong. It's what I was talking about in my video yesterday. The colonization and the unfair advantage that one race has over the entire world. It's not right. Okay? Family Man is one. We just can't seem to get along. Been on a jag of Pale Saints. I put most of them away, but I played almost all of my Pale Saints records in the last couple days. 4AD band. They get lumped in with shoegaze. I think they're good beyond that moniker. It's just a good band. Good songs. I love the texture of the songs, the trajectory of the chords. Great band. Fine Friend is this single here. That's a beautiful song. And also sitting out, played some of this last night. Dave Stewart and Barbara Gaskin. Dave Stewart from Egg, Hatfield in the North, the Canterbury School. Barbara Gaskin was in Spyro Gyra, not the jazz band, the folk band. And this is pop, but it's just wonderful. It's, you know, it's because it's them using that template from Prague, where it's just beautiful, rich chords, interesting arrangements, beautiful, rich harmonies, spin. It's a good album. Good album. So that's where I'm at today. I guess I'm going to see if I can arrange to get a service person out here within the next day or two to let me know if I need to buy a new water heater. I hope I don't, because, you know, they're not cheap. But I want to say again, people, that my main message here, besides love of music, is love of humankind. We used to say mankind, but now with all the gender stuff, you know, it's like, you know, we've had to rethink these things, you know, and you want to make sure that you're inclusive. When it comes to things like transgender and gender dysmorphia, or whatever the word is, I feel fortunate that it's not an issue for me. I feel fortunate that I was born, you know, male, and I'm just fine with that. I'm not in conflict about my gender or body dysmorphia, whatever they call it. But I relate and understand as much as I can people who are going through it, and that's their challenge, you know. And it's not for me or anyone else to tell them how to be, which I think is, I just hate that about, you know, conservatives in particular. It's like, well, this is what I think, so this is what I'm going to make you do. That's just wrong. I'm just going to speak out against that mess. It's inhuman. Okay? All right. I babbled on enough. Have a good day.